Yo, it's your boy Sneaky from R&R, recognition and respect. Tune in every Monday from 8 to 9 to catch up with me and my adventures and hear from my guests ranging from artists to entrepreneurs and much more. Catch us every Monday of the week on the west side of the after party. See you at the party, y'all.
What's up? How's everybody doing? You're tuning in to Recognition and Respect with your boy SHNEAKY. Again, another double header. As I mentioned, I will be going out of town, and I'm trying to bring you some fresh content. It's no adventure time today. I'm going to jump in straight with my guests. I got the Midnight Motives in the studio right here.
What's good?
And just for, everybody say hi.
Yo, what's good?
Just for some context, if y'all been following the show, anytime I've talked about my band or having to manage egos and schedules and families and all that stuff, this is the bulk of the dude that I'm talking about right here. This is my brother.
Yes.
That guy's known me since I was a little kid, and we met in music class in college. So we got some history, so if we're mean to each other, don't trip, it's all love. Let's just go around real quick, and I'm going to say... tell me who you are and what you do, starting with this guy over here, the cool guy.
My name is Anthony, and lead guitars in Midnight Motives.
My name is Raul, and I sing lead vocals and play guitar in the band.
My name is Jose Rojas, and I play bass.
So how long have y'all been playing together? And then we can talk about individual music journeys for a second.
For sure.
Well, we started playing together, I'd say maybe around 2011, 2012, when you brought us all together, actually. That's kind of how this whole thing started here. Yeah, I will ring that bell many more times. Sorry, I know that's your bell, but I gotta jump in on that.
It's funny, man, because you're going to be asking us questions, but a lot of the answers involve you.
Know.
Yeah.
This might be a little
egotistical.
No, but
I
it might
love
be.
it.
It might be a podcast about like us, because you definitely would fill in a lot of the holes that we brought up, that we're going to bring up today.
Yeah, man. Like
and I mean, go ahead.
Well, yeah. So essentially, you were working on your album, collaboration, because you collaborated with us, right? And ultimately, you went ahead and you pieced together this band of different musicians who you knew could facilitate and bring to the table what you needed to materialize this album that you had, and that's where we got started. When we were done with your project, the chemistry that we had created in that whole process, it was just evident to all of us, and we knew that we were a band. And that, I mean, we didn't know what we were going to do. We didn't know how we were going to do it, but we knew
we just had to keep going.
We were going to do something together, and that's a testament to you being able to kind of see what you wanted and see the what each one of us brought to the table and put us together for your project, right? So.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, since we're on that, we're gonna let you take a seat back real quick, Jose, because I've known you two for most of my life.
Yeah.
And ever since I've known the both of you, you've played music. So have y'all ever played in a band together, or like did because you both had your own separate musical journeys, but I know you have come together a couple of times in the past. So if you want to just touch on that, like Anthony, how long have you been playing guitar?
Honestly, I don't even remember. Like, it's been a long while, dude.
Like 5,
but you
like
started
10,
you started
like
off playing
12.
drums first, though, if I'm not mistaken.
I was playing guitar, then I started playing drums, and then I went back to guitar. It was just, I've been all over the place, you know?
So what's that like time-wise? Just because I'm trying to give people an idea of like how long it takes, you know?
At least like 15 years, man.
So 15 years playing guitar.
At least, yeah.
And Raul?
I got my first guitar when I was 10, so...
And you're 50 now?
Not 50 yet. So maybe 23 years?
23 years. Yeah. And Jose, since we're just talking about generic time, you've been playing bass?
He just started yesterday, I believe.
I picked it up yesterday.
he's really good, though.
Yeah. No, I started playing when I was 14. I'm 28 now, so what is that, 15 years?
All right, so over a decade, almost going on 2. Let's say going on 2 decades soon. And did y'all ever have musical ties together before we came together as the band?
We did. We played in a band called Sound Project with our boy Eric, rest in peace, you know.
R.I.P. Eric Quay.
And that's when we started off, you know, but we kind of had like a falling out. And later on, like, I just got this call, hey.
I mean, and I wouldn't even go as far as calling it a falling out. just that project sort of fizzled, right? Like it went to whatever it was gonna be, and then it wasn't, right?
Right.
And that had nothing to do with.
And I think that's
Yeah, no,
common,
no, no,
right?
yeah.
That's nothing like personal, like that.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
kind
no.
of,
It was never a disagreement,
Nothing
and at
like
some
that,
point
yeah.
it was just life, and we actually went our separate ways to where years went by that I didn't see him or talk to him
Yep.
or know anything of him, right? So again, it wasn't some beef, it wasn't some fallout. It just
apart,
just
kinda
like
just
yeah,
kinda
we
went on our
we
own
just
journey,
grew apart.
you know?
We went on our own journey, and then circle back, like you're putting us back together in the same room
Yep.
to like be like, yo, you guys got to carry on what you started a long time ago, right? So to me, that's just the craziness of it. Is because when you even decided to bring him in the mix,
like it was left field for you. Yeah.
I had no idea, right? And I had already been talking to you about your project. I had already been helping you,
You even suggested other guitar players.
other than me, right?
Right.
And it had nothing to do with me not wanting to do that.
Right,
It was
right.
just trying to bring in a different element,
Mm-hmm.
a different.
Make it more full. I think that was what it was.
Yeah,
More layers.
and just someone else's experience, someone else's taste, and just bringing that to the mix.
So did you play in bands prior to
hell yeah.
those guys? What were you doing
So-
before you met us crazy individuals?
So before I was playing with you guys, I was in a norteño group, and on the weekends I would play bass for different norteño groups that would play for weddings, bodas, quinceañeras.
Okay, let's pretend that we're not talking to a 100% Latino audience and just do little translations. So norteños
Okay,
are...
so norteño, what it is Mexican regional music.
And bodas, quinces, and...
Bodas means weddings. Quinces means sweet 15. It's the Mexican equivalent of the sweet 16, but except it's celebrated at 15, which is a coming of age celebration for women.
So you were
when they
kind of playing like in a like a family event style band, like
That's
someone
right.
that got booked for like family parties and
Absolutely.
and that. So kind of like covers, like a cover band, but like in Mexican music.
Absolutely, I would cover songs every weekend. It would be like 4 hours on end, and we would just. I was in the grind of loading up and unloading instruments, and then playing for 4 hours on end, and then loading and unloading instruments every weekend. And then I was
You
going
didn't
to.
like that?
Oh, you know what? It
That's
was
the gig life, man. That's the gig life.
It was the gig life, and it was work. Work comes with work is work. Sometimes there's going to be the labor of it to it, whether it be emotional or physical labor to
Right.
it. You get worn thin, but then the payoff comes right after that. And the payoff was more than just the money. You also had the experience. You have the experience of performing. You have the experience of traveling. You have the experience of customer service as well.
And the
too.
fans.
And the fans as well too.
Don't forget about the fans.
And then all the catering at the weddings.
And the
All
catering,
food you can eat.
free
Yeah.
food, free
As
beer.
a DJ, that's a given.
Yeah.
It's always like you're gonna feed me, right?
I'm getting tacos, right?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Mexican music because I wanted to talk about influences, sound, genre, style. Even till this day, I don't know how to define your current project, the album that we're going to be talking about in a bit. How do you define yourselves? Like, what do you call yourselves? And is it a mixture of stuff that y'all grew up listening to? Is it like new stuff that you've kind of been like listening to now to change your style a little bit? Like,
I mean,
whoever wants to start.
that's a good question, and we were actually asked that not that long ago, and I think really the way I would define it is that rock and roll.
HP rock.
I know that there's subgenres and there's subcategories of rock music, but I don't think we fit perfectly into any one of those, right? And I'm not trying to say that we've made our own revolutionary sound, because by no means do I feel that. But we sound like us. We sound like Midnight Motives, and it's a bit, punk rock. It's a big indie rock. There's, some classic rock involved. Like, there's just all these different elements that inspire us, that we grew up listening to at different points in our, existence. And so I would just have to say we're the Midnight Motive subgenre of rock and roll, if you will, right? Like,
I like that.
The late
So-
night.
And
that's
so, like,
it.
what did y'all grow up listening to? Like, if just to give people an idea of, like, so they can relate to you. Like, oh, I used to listen to that band too. Like, just throw out some bands or artists.
Some Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and Pharoah, and of course Rage Against the Machine was like a really big point in our lives that it helped us with our guitar because we wanted to learn how to
Play like
play
Tom
just
Morello.
like Tom Morello.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to make that wah noise, you know.
Who doesn't want to rock that hard? You know?
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, and then for me, you know, just kind of personally, I grew up in the 90s, right? So everything from Alice in Chains to Soundgarden to Stone Temple
Nirvana.
Pilots, Nirvana, like that was the core of what inspired me. But I also grew up listening to the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Waylon Jennings, Neil Diamond, right?
Hendrix.
So there, I think just each one of us have this diverse, you know, palette of music that influenced us, that it just kind of sort of locks in and comes out in flashes when we're doing stuff, right? And I feel like Jose, what influenced you, man?
I feel like the outsider. I feel like the outcast right here. Definitely ostracized from the band for my genre. I grew up listening to norteño music, so it would be
Some
like
cumbia.
Tris del Norte, Salsa Piña, and then but like when I started getting into rock, I started with Sum 41. That was my band at the time.
Oh man.
Like I went to their concerts and everything.
You're gonna have to pack up your stuff and leave the band.
Yeah.
now.
It was nice knowing you guys. Have a good night.
No,
You know
but-
what? I was gonna mention this too. We're kind of a bit underrepresented here too. KJ's not here.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
we're
once
missing our
again,
drummer.
we
Missing
should
our
probably
drummer.
tell everybody about
Yeah,
the,
let's catch-
the white boy in the band.
Hey, he's
Cuban
Cuban,
B.
B. He's Cuban. He's
Cuban
B.
He's a Cuban bro.
So Kevin Jordan, our drummer, amazing drummer. I'm blessed to play with him in another
Yeah.
band, and that's kind of how this all fits in together, right? He and I were playing in another project together already when SHNEAKY went ahead and recruited us to do collaboration. And his palette is very wide and diverse. You know, he's into a lot of different things. He's mean behind that drum kit. I will say that a million times over again, an absolute beast.
Yeah, and as a drummer, he tends to like be into like technical stuff, like jazz.
Very technical, very precise.
Ghost beats.
But
he
you know,
went
like
to MI, so he's
am
like
I graduate?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
educated in
educated
music, so it's
musician.
different.
And I play with a lot of really good drummers. And for all you drummers who I played with, I fucking love all you guys. But by far, Kevin has been my favorite, man.
Sorry, not
And-
sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin's been my favorite, and it's because of that, right? Like, it's because of the flavor, and he's just so methodical in what he brings to the table. Like, he, you know, he really thinks out what he's gonna play,
Yeah.
and he tries to draw from all his influences and really play to the song and cater to what the song's trying to do. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you,
Jordan.
Kevin. Where is he at now? He's playing the Greek Theater right now, isn't he?
No.
He's at
Oh,
the,
no.
he's at the Hollywood Bowl.
He's
Oh,
at
my
the
bad,
Hollywood Bowl.
That was Sabrina.
Sabrina's at the
Shout
Hollywood
out to our
Bowl.
homegirl Sabrina.
She's also on the
Played the
collaboration
Hollywood
album.
Bowl.
Y'all are just name dropping over here.
And, Damon Real, Hollywood Bowl.
David Real.
Our people play the Hollywood Bowl, but not us. So, like,
yeah.
trying
None
to
of
get-
us have ever played shows that
Virginia
big,
trying to get there,
Novello.
trying to get there.
but our friends do. So like I mentioned in the opening, I've mentioned the band a lot in talking about scheduling. I've had other bands in here, and I always talk about like, how do y'all schedule practice? How do y'all schedule shows? What's that like? And since I already know what that's like, since I'm there,
Yeah.
we could just do it quick. Y'all have a scheduled day of the week, and you meet at least once every week.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, pretty much, right? And that's
Yeah.
how you.
That's like church. That's
Yeah.
like church to us. You know, people go to church on Sunday. We go to the studio on Tuesday.
Yeah,
For
we pass
sure.
up Taco Tuesday just to practice.
Sometimes I show up with tacos. though.
Sometimes.
Yeah, he'll call us. He's like, "Hey, you hungry, bro?
Yeah, you
I'm gonna
hungry?
go
And
get some tacos."
everybody always happens to eat before rehearsal, but
Yeah.
I try to provide those tacos before practice. You know.
So I really want to talk about like time management and scheduling, and I think you can talk about a lot about this because even while you were playing with us,
Yeah.
you had
I was-
side projects and you were playing for money, still doing like
The
the
band
cover
stuff.
band stuff,
Yeah.
and having to like juggle that. And now I know you're married, you got 2 kids. I don't know what your status is right now,
He's
but
project manager, man.
but-
This
Yeah.
guy he just got a promotion.
all right, all right.
There
I
you go.
saw you reaching for my belt.
One more. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Congratulations on
Couldn't
your
help
promotion,
myself.
Anthony.
I feel like there's like a lot of opposites right here, and like a whole. It's like, how do you be a rocker and rock and roller with wife and kids, with 9-to-5 project management? You just rock, but like, you know what I mean? Like, let's talk about some of that, the struggle of trying to, you know, balance time and make sure that you're where you need to be and all that stuff. Like, what do you think? How do you keep your priorities straight?
Honestly, to me, it's just like the passion you have for the music. If you don't have the passion, you're not gonna be there. But where there's a will, there's a way, you know. And I make it happen, and so do these guys. you know?
Yeah, and I think on that note, even like, you know, having a professional career, where I'm talking about like tons of money and like serious customers, has actually taught me skill sets to bring to this rock band, right? Like, and it's funny that you ask us that question, because I feel like even on the way over here, we're talking about, yo, how do we maximize our time together? How do we get more productive? How do we actually take the small amount of time, if you think about it, like meeting once a week, really, in the scheme of things, it's nothing, right? But how do you make the most of that? And I think the last several rehearsals that we've had, that's sort of been our goal, and an open dialogue that we've had where hey, all right, we're going to meet up. Where we talk about even beforehand, what's the agenda, right? We're going to show up on Tuesday. Is it going to be Tuesday poker night, or are we going to really get shit done? And I think that's been the biggest shift, actually, since a lot of these things that you brought up have happened, since he's gotten his promotion, since I've had my second baby, since Jose has continued to rock and just giving no fucks, right? But Kevin too, like Kevin's doing his thing.
Has family,
his family, and so really, I think that's, we kind of hit our like this turning point where, you know, I mean, I don't want to say that we took the time that we've had for granted prior to this for granted, but I think we're just trying to work more efficiently. We're trying to realize that, hey, like, we're confined to this small amount of time. How do we make the most of it? What do we do next, and how do we execute and actually get things done, right? And
trying to oil that machine.
And I think once we took that approach, I feel that we've been a lot more productive, like more productive in a smaller amount of time than we have over the course of our inception to working with you on your project. Right?
Yeah.
So you said dialogue and agenda. Does that mean like you've upped your communication skills? Like, does the band communicate better now?
I definitely think so. I feel like we still have our jokeful and like funny communication in between each other, but we always find a way to circle back.
You're never gonna stop.
No. This fool's not gonna shut up. But we circle back to where, like, okay, hey, let's get professional for a moment. Yeah, we're having fun. Yeah, we're fucking around. Yeah, we're friends, and this is just fun and games to us. But hey, let's realign our focus professionally to where this still makes sense for everybody, and let's move forward. And I think since we've started doing that, I feel that things have gotten a lot more fun. It's been a lot easier to do, and we've been a lot more productive to where at the end of the rehearsal even, there's something to show for it, and there's something that we can high five about on our way out, instead of just being like, well, I don't even know why I showed up today, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you could burn out that way. Like Jose mentioned, like being in the band can feel like a job sometimes, and
yeah, it feels like a chore.
But lately that has not been the case, and lately it's been the exact opposite of that.
So I just want to point out a contradiction. You said sometimes you have to stop the fun in order to get serious, but that ends up making it more fun. I want to point that out just because I feel like a lot of times people are always like, nah, bro, if it's not fun, why are we doing it? Like, it's got to be all about good times. Like, why are we working so hard? It shouldn't feel like a job. But, like, if you want to get somewhere, you want to do something, you need to have some of that sometimes.
There's got to be there's got to be that focus. And if I said that it stopped being fun, that's actually not even what I meant to say, right? It's just sometimes you got to hit the brakes and reset. Sometimes you got to regroup. Sometimes you just, like, say, hey, everybody, like, all right, we're going to talk about this, right? You just need to get serious for a moment. And being serious doesn't mean not having fun.
Right.
It just means that you're focusing on the end goal again, right? Like, you're just realigning all of your energy to what the end goal is. And
well, I'm glad you brought up goals, because we're going to start shifting gears. The main reason why you're here is to promote an album and a show.
Yeah.
That's coming out on September 19th. So in a couple of days now, right?
Both on the same day, yeah.
So on September 19th, y'all are going to be playing a show in Long Beach at Alex's Bar for $10 at 8 p.m.
It starts at 8, but we go on at 10:30, I believe.
Cool. So get there early so you catch their full set. And I kind of want to ask, like, we released our album in 2012.
Yeah.
It's 2008 now. So
18.
That's 18. That's what I meant. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
The Jameson. So we're talking about you're talking about 6 years, right? We're talking about 6 years. So, like, has this album taken 6 years to make, or was it something that just kind of materialized a couple of years ago and you've been working on it? Like what?
Honestly, I feel that we could have finished it and done everything much quicker, but life throws you curveballs, and between families and people, families growing, careers and all that,
and
it's
to
just
and to be honest with you, on top of that, I'm gonna just talk about a whole other just concept in terms of the creative process, like overthinking, right? Like trying to wait for the opportune time to put this out, to release it, to do something with it, has been a factor in what's extended this, right? Like realistically, from the moment that we knew what we were doing and what this project was and what it sounded like, and we had the ideas cohesive, it took about 2 years to finish. And some of that was development in terms of even my sound as a singer, right? Because
yeah.
I wasn't a vocalist or a singer prior to this band. This band essentially brought me to this place, and it shaped me, and it's been part of my evolution as an artist and as a musician. So, given all of these different sort of factors in creative process and family and time frames and all these different things that sort of come into effect, I think one of the things has just also been overthinking and waiting for something, right? Waiting for the opportune time when it really could have passed a year before that, right?
Yeah.
So in terms, and that's one of the things that we were talking about even on our way over here, right? Like that, and that's one of the things I love about playing with these guys and being in this band with these guys is that the communication is fluid. We're able to talk and be real and have honest conversations. This is not just a social thing, right? Like there's genuine connection. And so on our way over here, we're talking about goals and time frames, and I feel that that's one of the things that kind of happened to this project was maybe even some overthinking on my part and stepping on some imaginary brakes for no reason, right? And so that's what prompted the release to be on this release date for this show, is just the fact that, hey, we're doing all these things, we're being really active, this thing's been done for a while now, like, ready, set, go. Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about that process. What is your music about? Because sometimes I know we've even had conversations where like, yo, that song's about nothing. Like it's music about nothing, and it's still great, and it's still, but there's no real substance. Like there's no metaphors. They're really just saying whatever the fuck they're saying, right?
Yeah.
And then there's other music that's like telling stories, and there's other stuff that's just like random imagery. So like, where does Midnight Motives fall into that? Like, what is your music about? Like, what are you trying to say with it, or what are you trying to not say with it, or is it literally just pure expression? Or what if that's a cheesy question, let me know.
No, that's a really good question, and I think the best way we can approach it is the way the songs develop and the way they evolve into a song and how they make their way into a track. And a lot of the times, whenever we go to the studio and we start rehearsing, the song always develops very organically. Where it's always before we rehearse what we already know. We just start jamming out. Either KJ starts a beat, I start a bass line. Yeah, you start a guitar line, you start a guitar line, something like that. And then we just work on it. And we just everyone falls into it at different times. It's like hopscotch. Everyone just jumps in. And then we're developing and working. The double dutch. And then we just try to figure out our spot. We're just like, hey, this is starting to cool. You know what? Oh, you're doing a chorus. Let's go into the chorus. And then it becomes, I'm not shitting you. It becomes like 20, 30 minutes of us playing the same song over and over.
And it gets all psychedelic.
It gets very psychedelic, and then we find this vibe. We tune into this frequency of just like, this is what the song is starting to sound like. This is definitely the end evolution of what we've been trying to find. And then it becomes that we're all locked into it. and then someone plays the wrong note, and I'll just fall to shit. We're just like, no.
And it's like, you know what, good, because we're actually supposed to be rehearsing.
Yeah,
here.
we're supposed to be rehearsing. We have a show. Sneaky wants us to be ready by tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Fucking around.
Honestly, a lot of the ideas that we had were like before Sneaky was in practice.
Just jam outs,
Before he showed up, we were just like, let's just jam on these couple of ideas here, and these are sounding great. And it's like, and then he shows up, and we're just like, you guys, we gotta stop.
Sorry that I'm such a buzzkill. My bad.
No, but even then though, like for the sessions where you're a non-factor, essentially that's the concept, and someone hits that bad note, and it's like a reminder of like, okay, hey, here's what we gotta do.
When do the lyrics happen? Like, do the lyrics always happen after, or have you come to the band with like chord progression and like some ideas already, or is it always like music inspires you, or?
So that part has been sort of in flux. I feel that for the first portion of this album that we're releasing, a lot of the music was done before. And again, the vocals and the lyrics came afterwards because I was evolving and developing as a singer. I think now, though, having been writing more regularly and working on ideas more regularly, when we're in the studio and something comes up, I've got, we're all jamming out and rocking and doing our thing. I've got a point of reference in terms of being able to look at ideas and concepts and thoughts that I've been able to jot down to bring to the table while we're working on stuff and just kind of plugging things in and see where they fit, right? And Anthony, on the other hand, has songs that he's written from start to finish, both vocals and music, and so he brings... A lot of times he brings ideas that are complete to the table,
I'll be like, check it out. It has lyrics, bass, guitars, drums, everything. Here you go.
That's right. Our songs come from different levels, too.
Yeah.
There's like a tier to it as well, whereas Anthony's tier is, they come completed. They have drums, they have bass, they have guitars. He's got top
they have
shelf
lyrics, fucking everything.
And sometimes I manage to do that on my own, but not as diligently. And other times, things come from jest. Things come from just like a joking point of view, and that's one of the things I want to highlight. We take our art serious, but sometimes we don't take ourselves very serious.
Right.
And so a working title of something dumb and funny turns into what the song's actually inspired by,
right,
and what the title is about,
well,
right?
Like two hookers from San Francisco.
That's exactly the one I was thinking.
or even Picoso,
right?
Picoso, right? Like to me,
or even Smooth, right?
Smooth.
My bad.
Smooth.
Yeah,
SMOOV apostrophe. Smooth.
We get it.
Oh,
we get
man.
it. We got it. The spelling and everything. So how important is production? Let's talk about, we have like 15 minutes left, and I want to make sure we get to your song still. So let's talk about production, recording process. I know y'all mastered at Capitol. I was actually looking at photos for my second show today, and it was like almost a year ago that it was like around September, October, November of last year that we were at the Capitol. I have pictures of
Capitol
you
Studios,
at Capitol Studios in the mastering. So how rock and roll supposed to be like raw and grunt, like how important is production? Do you make sure that what you play on the record you play live? Like, what's your philosophy about that?
I mean, production is huge. I think the tools that we have at our disposal now to make things sound as different as we want, as big as we want, just take them to this other level, are with the push of a button, right? So of course,
and just so that they know, because we're talking about like you recorded your the whole album
in
our home studio.
The whole album was recorded in our home studio
with our own gear, with our own equipment. Didn't spend any money on studio time.
No. And I want to give a shout out to Damon Real.
Damon Real.
We did the vocals. Yeah. Can I?
Go for it.
Damon Real. We recorded the vocals at his studio, and I feel like that was a huge process and a huge part of like my growth and development of our band, right?
Yeah.
It was being able to have him to coach me and teach us and even sing on some of the shit. Like he's on the album, right? Like he's producer extraordinaire, and that was priceless to have him as a resource and someone in our corner that believes in what we were doing and that was willing to share his talent and ability with us. Like, love the dude to death just for that, on top of the other million reasons I got to love that dude, right? And so to me it was all of those things, and going back to No Timeline, right? Like that allowed us to meet with him and have that experience with him. And but yeah, we did all the production ourselves, and some songs that required that extra little bit of spice and sizzle, like we did that. And other parts of the songs that required nothing, that were raw and were what they were, like we left them at that. And again, the whole album was recorded over the course of a couple of years. So some drums were done a certain way, some drums were done another way.
Yeah.
There's a drum machine in one track, there's a sample in another track.
So you still get that like inconsistent rock,
It's-
like
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
whatever the day felt like that day.
Yeah. You can't replicate it. It wasn't over the course of the same weekend where everything was in the same place. Like it varies from track to track.
And how important is mastering?
Mastering is huge, but I think, we went to Capitol. Kevin Bartley, thank you so much for your services, my man. We had a great time, and it was a great experience just being in the Capitol Records building.
Having our music bumping through the same halls is like so many greats,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but if you're not capturing the sound both properly and with the correct energy from the beginning, like that part of the process almost doesn't matter. So, and on that note, even a learning process, right? For me, still.
Yeah, because some of the tracks were too hot and the mixes,
Some,
right?
yeah.
Some of the stuff was too loud.
Or even from one year to the next, right? Because again, this was recorded over the course of a couple years. The drum tracks for the early songs maybe didn't sound as good as the drum tracks for the second ones, or guitars or bass or whatever the case may be. So it's just this whole evolution.
But instead of going back and fixing it, you just said,
It's perfect.
well.
Yeah. It's perfect for all its imperfections, dude. And that was really, again, another whole lesson learned and concept of this album.
so just like in the last couple minutes, goals, dreams, where's Midnight Motives in 5 years? Is there a tour? Is there a follow-up album in the works? Just kind of give us your visions, for pun
Visions of
intended.
visions,
Give me
yeah.
your visions, and then if you just have like, we'll go around. You can give us your goals or where you see the band in that kind of thing, and then if you want to just give like a piece of advice to any upcoming musicians, bands, guitarists, anybody that you think might be listening, like if there's one thing that you could have told yourself 10, 12 years ago, or if so you wish something that someone would have told you, maybe just kind of pass that on to the next generation. Start with Anthony.
I feel in 5 years, I can't really say where we're going to be, but I can say where we want to be. We do want to have a tour scheduled. And by the end of the year, we're just speaking about it. We want to release a few more songs, to drop into the new year with some fresh shit, And we're going to start recording all that stuff pretty soon. And we also have another project, which I can't mention what it is yet, but it's a little surprise that's in the works. And I think it's going to be really good.
Why you gotta tease us like that?
You got to keep tuned in.
Gotta stay tuned.
Stay tuned in and check out our stuff. And you're going to wind up finding out what I'm talking about. And come out and see us at that event. Go ahead.
Yeah, so likewise, I think in a few years I see us, getting out and playing a lot more shows. I think that right now we don't play enough.
Yeah.
But I can see that as being something that we can address, right? That's not
Right.
It's not some huge impediment.
Maybe just a conversation and
yeah,
agenda and figure out how to
yeah,
make that happen, right?
And again, really, it's been part of the whole process. Now we've got something complete, something to push, something we could work on. We've actually started a couple of other projects with different people, right? Jacob G, what's up, my man? We gotta finish.
Get back to you.
We gotta finish that project, right? So we're gonna be featured on some work with some other artists, and I think that's also sort of something that we enjoy doing, right? As much as we enjoy being Midnight Motives and doing our own original music.
You like being the Los Guys too?
No, not the Los Guys.
What band is that?
I don't know what that is.
But we
Man.
definitely enjoy working with other people in different genres outside of whatever it is that we're doing by nature, right? Outside of whatever it is that calls us.
That
like,
comfort zone.
Like we're down to work with other artists.
out of
That's how we started, really.
Yeah.
All right, 5-year vision. Come
With
on, bro.
Sneaky. 5-year vision. You're hearing it now on the After Party
You don't have to yell.
Radio.
You don't have to yell. There's a microphone. You don't have to yell.
Yeah.
Is
He's
that
excited, though,
in
bro. He's
5
excited.
years,
Lower your voice.
Midnight Motives will be playing on Mars. Elon Musk, you heard it here. Get us out there. Today they just released.
All right.
Can we be on his iPod?
We're going to be on his iPod.
How high are you right now? Seriously, though.
Not as much as I'd like to.
Okay.
Hey,
Just
he's,
checking.
he's our driver, by the way. He's
Oh,
our
okay.
driver right here.
Lift certified.
Lift service.
I'm going to turn on my app and charge you guys.
The Lyft driver's too lifted.
All right, now for real though, 5 years. What do you see for the band? Where do you want to be at? Other than Mars or Elon Musk's iPod. You might already be in Elon Musk's iPod. He probably owns everything.
Oh man, can you believe that? There's 20 years from now, 5 years from now. I think I see 5, 10, 20 years from now with this band. Definitely by 2023 we should be doing have like 6 albums out already. Just like a bunch of ideas just streaming right out of us. Definitely get into the process of just like, because we just talked about this on the way over here to this podcast, of just like, you know what, we should be pushing out music, and we have the service that allows us to, like, you know, just streamline as much music as we can into the year, and definitely just hit the studio as much as we can, just work,
be proactive.
music, be as proactive as we can be, and push out just this creative content that definitely represents us, that defines our name and our sound, and just continue to be in that thriving force that we are and we're developing ourselves to continue to be. Yeah.
All right.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? And this going back to one of your earlier questions, what do we have to say to anybody that's coming up in all of this, right? Is that, you know, we've been doing this for so long that we realistically can remember a time when we didn't have the resources or the tools to finish something and put it out for millions of people to hear, right? And now we have those tools at our disposal. So I think that's kind of where we're at now. Like, now we've evolved and we've developed into our own brand and our own product.
Now you're trying to take advantage.
And now we're trying to take advantage of the resources that are available to us.
There's Spotify and all that. You can just put your music out there like so easily.
And to really reach out to as many people as we can.
And just do work.
And that's it, dude. And just and put something that exists in this realm.
All right, man. Well, I hope everybody comes out September 19th. At the Alex's Bar in Long Beach City, 8 p.m., $10 show. Instagram, Twitter, where can people find you? Social media,
Midnight
website?
Motives. So it's Midnight Motives Midnight_Motives.
That's Instagram, and then midnightmotives.com
is the website.
Midnightmotives.com.
All right, and what's the name of this song that we're about to hear?
This song is called Girls with Flannels and Shorts.
Is there any blurb about the song you want to say?
This is going to be our next single off the album and our next music video off the album. So this is the one that's coming up right now.
Okay.
This is the song that we'll be promoting in the near future, Girls with Flannels and Shorts.
Can I just say one more thing, too?
Last comment. And it better not be Elon Musk Mars comment.
No. I want to thank this man, SHNEAKY, right here, for so much of what we've done. I owe this guy so much of my musical progress. My musical career has expanded and has grown so much, and I owe a lot to Ryan. Like, just down to earth. This is the first person I ever met was Ryan.
The first person you ever met
was when he was born. You were there.
Ryan.
When he was born, you were there.
I met this man. He was this incredible ball of fire that I met in class.
What class was
this? Was world politics. And this guy, whenever he spoke up, he knew his shit so much. And aside from that, that set up the persona and the person that he is right now. And Ryan, man, thank you so much for introducing me to this band and bringing me into this project. Collaboration was one of my proudest, most greatest moments I've ever been into. And I want to thank you so much for believing in me.
Amen.
You have so much drive. You have so much fire. You have so much power in you. I'm so glad to be your friend.
I appreciate it. But I was did it
once
all for
again,
selfish
how high
reasons.
are you?
Oh, no. It was all selfish and ego, so don't give me too much credit. It just happened to work out okay for everybody.
I'm happy it worked out for you, too.
Yeah. I'm glad y'all are still friends, because, you know, it would have been funny if that didn't
thank
work.
you, man. Let me give you a hug.
All right. On there.
Appreciate you so
much.
All
right.
Appreciate you so much.
I love all y'all for tuning in. Remember to catch me. Oh, for the next 2 weeks, I will be in Mexico, so you'll be hearing pre-recorded shows. But after that,
drinking margaritas
every Monday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the west side
of the after party.
All right, Brittany, take us out.
It's a love song, you see.